Alright, it's crowded quarters in here, but we're moving on to the next section. So again, we're just doing grind. So this is your flank steak. So I am going to cut the flank off and we're just going to grind it. So typically, and then you've got your rounds up here. So I'm going to cut this flank off, bring it up to Natalie. She's going to start grinding it up. And then we'll cut into this knuckle here and remove the rounds, which are great for roast, but again, we're going to grind it, and then that'll expose the beef suet, the fat, tallow, great tallow, so we'll pull that out, and then after we get that tallow out, you'll see the tenderloin, so I got to be very careful with the tenderloin. So we're just gonna, and again, if this were a beef cow, I'd be a lot more careful. And more precise with what I'm trying to do here. Like right there, I missed some of that. Not the way I would have done it, but this is your flank, or a portion of it. So I'll bring that up. We'll cut in this knuckle, remove the roast, the rounds, and then we'll so ideally, I would like to have my meat hooks. I don't know where my meat hooks are. And I can hook this so I'm not exposing my fingers and getting to the bone. And then just follow that bone all the way down. There we go. Alright. So I'm going to bring these up. And again, completely butcher this. I know we're grinding all of this, so I'm not concerned. If this was a beef, I'd be a little more precise. So I'm not. I mean, I completely butchered that. So there we go. Okay, so now we're going to. So here's the tenderloin. We are going to keep the tenderloin. So we're going to remove this bottom portion. It's a sirloin. And FYI, I don't know all this stuff. I'm literally watching the bearded butchers as we're going through this and following. They've got a whole video on how to break down an entire cow. That's what I'm that's what I'm watching. This isn't my knowledge whatsoever. I'm just following what the bearded butchers say. So they say to go down just below this joint, take the knife all the way to the tail, and then I'm going to saw through this. I've got the tenderloin right here, I can see it, so I'm going to remove this section. Go through. There we go. The rest again, it's all going to grind. Ho, 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 oh my goodness. What's going on?
We got chocolate soda.
Alright. Okay. So here's the tenderloin here, and I cut into it again. It's not a beef cow. We're not. So you want to stay right against this bone, right against these ribs. There's a lot of fat on here, so it's kind of confusing me, but you don't want to leave any of this on the bone. Got the tenderloin off here. I made a mistake. So this is the first time we've done this. Last time we did T-bone, so we didn't even remove the tenderloin. We cut T-bones. As I was cutting along these ribs, I started cutting into what I wanted to do and what we'll do with the other one. And I'll try to salvage some of these. Tenderloin. The other side of this is the New York strip steak. Last time we just cut these and made T-bones porterhouse. So we left the tenderloin on the bone, New York strip on the bone. This time we were just gonna try. So I'm gonna do this full tenderloin on this one. On the next one we'll chop up some fillets. So there's the tenderloin. And I screwed up. I kind of chopped into here. Again, I've never done this before, so I was being over cautious, and I wanted to get as much meat off of that bone as possible, but the problem was I was following these ribs into here. and I cut into these New York strips. So it is what it is. Look, this is how you learn. You screw up a few times. So first time doing it, I won't do that again. It's interesting, even on Shimmer, so she's a Wagyu, we actually preferred the New York strip side over the tenderloin when we cook the steak, when we cook the T-bone. So we like this other section, so it is what it is. All right, so we're to a point, we're gonna start grinding. We've got, we put these beef chunks in here. They've been in for about 45 minutes just to keep them cold. So we're gonna start doing that. Start grinding. We'll do the thick grind first, and then we'll put that back in the freezer. We're just gonna grind all day to keep that. We want the meat and the grinder as cold as possible so it doesn't clog up. So last time, again, I've mentioned this multiple times, the fat was getting clogged up because it got a little too warm. So we've got, these are nice and cold. They've been in for about 45 minutes. Learned our lesson. We're gonna start grinding. I got the first tenderloin out. I've got the rib section ready for New York strip. So we're gonna cut that out. We're gonna bring out the bandsaw here in a little bit, cut out those. We're gonna cut out the ribeyes on the other portion that I didn't screw up, and cut up some meat bones. I think we're gonna keep the some short ribs as well. We were trying last time. I spent a lot of time just getting that meat off those ribs, and it's not worth the time for just the little bit of meat that's gonna turn into grind. So I think we're gonna chop up some 2-inch short ribs as well. So we're gonna start grinding. We're just gonna keep going. What's Ainsley doing?
What?
What is Aislinn doing?
She's wasting a plastic.
Okay.
And she can fit all of them.
See, so the fat, you can see the fat starting to stick in there. When this gets below 40 degrees, all these grooves are just completely yellow, and then it's not doing what it needs to do. So clean this out. I'm gonna throw it back in the freezer. Like Natalie said, it's from here to the small grind is when it really needs to be cold.